everybody, how's it? Aloha, this is Geebz here, your old composer here at the Decomposer Lounge, pulling back the layers, dissecting tracks that you have requested. This is a special request. And this is a band called Alustrium. And they seem to be from Philadelphia. How do you like that? I guess they started around 2008, had a name change. And then these guys are considered death metal. But I'm, excuse me. I'm also seeing that they're considered kind of a modern prog and death tech metal. So I kind of think I've been around the block just long enough to understand that this is probably really super progressive death metal that has technicality to it. It's kind of like what it said, right? Anyhow, I look forward to this. Thank you so much. You know who you are, who suggested this. I look forward to listening to it. As per usual, any support that you have here for the channel, because you know the copyright claim does not do anything for me. You can buy me a cup of coffee. All the links are down below. The link down below to check out what headsets I'm using is down below. All right, guys, let's do this. The band is Alustrium, and the song is The Accuser. All right. Jeez, these guys are so absolutely technical, it's mind-numbing. That super fast guitar work that was happening there, it kind of had a little, it felt it had like just a flair of kind of a Latin flavor to it. As a matter of fact, the technique, even though this is distorted guitars and everything like that, the absolute technique of the picking and the notes and the timing and the metronome and the whole thing. Sometimes when I listen to music like this, I'm actually imagining it being acoustic guitars and how badass that would actually sound even with that. But not to take away from the fact that it is obviously tech death metal. Is there two vocalists in this band? I can't tell, because this is what I just heard a few seconds before I stopped seemed like it was completely two different tones. And if this vocalist is doing that, that is absolutely sick. Now, of course, I don't know what the vocals, what the lyrics are, and you guys know how I am. The lyrics anyhow doesn't even come into play because I treat the band and the vocalist as a complete piece of sonic work that I'm listening to. But that being said, what I've learned in all the time that I've been doing this channel with these kinds of voices and stuff, there is such an intense difference between performers growling, or if that's the technique. Not all growling is the same. You know, and this one has such a deep, throaty, dark, heavy tone. Except for the other one that came in a little earlier, seemed to have a little bit more of a higher sound. I can't, you know, there's nothing much as far as a reaction that I can say about the musicians because they're absolutely stellar. This is years of training, years of being of woodshedding and perfecting techniques that, you know, are obviously one of the things that I find really unique because I've actually started writing, I don't want to say music like this, but I've actually been trying with my 7-string guitar. Is it's such a trick to get that particular guitar tone that, you know, which is the open string, and you know, they're obviously, it seems like, I can't say obviously, but it seems like they're on their lowest string and stuff. That tone is so fat and so dark and so heavy, but it's not saturated. So I guess it doesn't really, it's the sizzle is different, you know. But anyhow, I'm going to keep going. I just realized this is almost 9 minutes long, so I'm going to let a nice chunk go by, really rinse into it. And but I had to stop and talk about the power of the vocals. But the musicians, I mean, they're smoking, so there's nothing more on that level that I could talk about. So now I'm going to go ahead and really focus in hard on the arrangement. So here we go. Almost kind of felt had a little bit of that triplet vibe in the vocal performance that the vocalist is doing. I think if you're a fan of this band, you are a fan of absolute technique, and these guys are absolute technicians. You know, one of the things that I've noticed, once again, I hate to sound like, you know, old fart that's only been doing this for a year and change, but I have been, is that what I've noticed about super powerful bands that have, you know, the lead performer is the growler, is that the intensity of the musicianship and the technique and stuff in these kind of bands are, what do I see people say? God tier. Ironically, death metal, God tier. I don't know if that statement makes any sense. But it is just so absolute, you know. The arrangements, there are so many different arrangements in here that the only thing that's making me feel a little like I'm so stoked to hear everything, but I'm wanting to kind of settle in on something. And I'm settling in on actually the musicianship and the composition, but that's just coming from a composer's point of view. But for you who are the pure listener of this kind of death metal or death tech metal, if that's what I remember what I said earlier, because I can't remember, you really have to be that person that's listening to them live or buying their music and just be absolutely blown away by their abilities to perform. I don't know if it's me. Maybe it is, because I've just been on a bass kick. But I feel the way the tones were sculpted in this track, you know, engineered and stuff, that there was a little bit more of a pocket where I would have loved to have heard a little bit more push of a bass. It looks to be like there's enough people here, so it's not like Animals or Animals as leaders type thing where the bass is done by the guitar. There's got to be a bass player, and I can hear it. There's a part of me that just, maybe it's because of the mode that I'm in right now. I'm kind of in this kind of metal meets Geddy Lee kind of vibe, and I've been shoving up, you know, the bass in my mixes a little bit. And I can hear it there, and it's just as amazing, but I just want it to be kind of balls up just a little bit in the mix. But what do I know, you know? I'm 60 years old, and I just got the hall pass that I don't know that I'm fucking hearing everything right. But that's just the way I feel. This is it's just nonstop technical fireworks for me. And like I just on this last break when I stopped and I'm talking about the performance of the lead of the singer, that, you know, rhythmical sense of that kind of pseudo triplet kind of feeling, da 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 da. And I do like the trickery that I heard in the engineering where there was an answer callback coming left and right also in certain points in the vocal performance as well, which to me is like, how much more technical can one get? Because even while he's performing, there's so much happening behind, and it's just amazing. It's clinic worthy, if you know what I'm talking about, you know, when you go visit a musician, you know, for a clinic. All right, so let me go back and see if I can finish this in one svelte swoop. Jesus, this was such I don't think I've ever said that. Jesus. This was such a heavy piece, and I think before I started it said that the genre was like prog metal. I'm not too sure, and I don't know if that wasn't off of somebody's, just like a little bit that I read off of just the beginning of the link of somebody's review of it or something like that, but the length of it is really intense. This was like a full 7-course meal of just absolute death metal, you know, and I'm still learning about the genre, and I'm also still learning the difference between, you know, old school death metal, new school versus new techniques, new sounds, the way musicians are approaching the composition and stuff like that. There were so many massive, incredible changes in here that, like I said in that last stop for me as a composer, it was a salad bar of like 5-star, you know, musicianship and technique and everything like that. The songwriting aspect of it is where I think that prog thing might be coming in, meaning that like a lot of that I've at least done on this channel, you know, prog metal or prog rock pieces of work are not formulated in, let's just say, pop culture song writing, radio friendly kind of, you know, 3 or 4 minutes. You know, they're these moving, constant pieces. And another thing that I want to bring up really quick was the engineering of the drums. This was very unique for me because sometimes I've been struggling a little bit doing some engineering for the drums on my current things that I'm doing that are metal-ish. I like to call it Geebz ethereal ambient metal stuff that I'm kind of writing. But the cymbal placement and the overhead on it was very pulled back and kind of washy. It wasn't really super distinct until you saw me go like this, and I can hear the drummer was really just tearing apart the cymbal bells and stuff with great rhythm. But the cymbals were very washy and long and stuff, and that was very unique. That was a great sound. And what I loved about it is that it just covered this tone in the mix that really stood out for me. But outside of that, this was heavy. And especially lately, you guys know the videos, I've been getting some comments too, but people are going, getting into that EDM a bit there, March Geebz. I thought we were heavy metal and stuff. Well, we are. You know, I just like to glide around. You know, that's just what I do on my channel. That's what I do. But, you know, I'm glad that I dove back into this. And so I have another one. I have a special coming up for Thursday's long form. But I think I have up here another one that is very similar to this style. So I will be finishing this week very solid on the metal, heavy metal vibe. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I'm going to go out back really quick. The sun's going to set. I might chuck my drone up and see if I can't catch a sunset. You guys take care of yourself. Thank you so much. You know who you are for suggesting this. Have a killer day. Aloha.